Hi there, friends. Good morning. Today is Thursday, May 21st, 2020. Right? It is the 21st day of May, the month of May, and the year is 2020. The weather today is going to be about 64 degrees and sunny. Right? It's going to be a beautiful day. So I thought, since it's such a beautiful day right now, that I would come outside to do my video and say hi to you all. All right. You see in the background there are some trees. Those are pine trees. And some more on the other side. Way back there, you can kind of see some leaves on some other kinds of trees. So today we are going to do a painting activity with some plants that I found outside. I just went outside and I found some plants on the grass and I thought that they would be cool to paint with. So here they are. I have some leaves, some flowers, a stick. These are needles from a pine tree. These are soft because they're the ones that are new. They just were budding. And these are a little bit more spiky because they're old, all right? This is what they look like when they're fully grown, all right? So we can use these items as paintbrushes instead of paintbrushes, or we can use them as stamps. So I'm gonna start by doing a stamp with a leaf, all right? So I'm gonna pick this leaf first. All right, here's the beautiful leaf. All right, it's kind of pointy on the top and round on the sides. All right, see the middle. We got the stem. All right, and I have some paint over here. I put it on a plate, and I'm gonna take my leaf and I'm gonna use it like a stamp. So I'm gonna dip it flat in the paint, and then I'm gonna press it down on my paper, okay? So I'm gonna choose the color pink. Okay, pink starts with the letter P. Thank you for helping. All right, now tuck it down. Okay, so you see I have all this paint on the leaf. If you need to, you can spread it out with your finger a little bit, or a paintbrush, or a Q-tip, whatever you want. Nice and even. Okay. Now, I'm gonna press it down on the paper like a stamp. All right. So, put it flat, and press, press, press. Pressing it really hard, and I'm squeezing it down so we can get a really good picture of it. And then I'm gonna peel it off. So I'm taking it by the stem, peeling it off. All right, and we have the shape of the leaf. Now this time I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna use a little bit less paint, and I'm gonna paint the stem too so you can get the full thing. So I'm just gonna use my finger. A little bit of paint, not a ton, just a little. Okay, and I'm gonna put some on the stem too. All right, and let's press it down again like a stamp. Press, press, press. Okay, and peel it off. Oh, this one looks really good. Okay, so the trick is use a little bit less paint than I used the first time. If you use too much paint, you can't really see the lines of the leaf as well. That's my second one. That one looks a little bit better. This one kind of looks like a heart. This leaf is kind of heart-shaped a little bit. That's cool. See, there's shapes in all sorts of plants. They're all around us, these shapes. It's pretty cool. Okay, so that's one of our leaves as stamps. Now let's use a couple of these different plants as paintbrushes. All right, so I'm gonna take, I'm gonna use the stick first because that reminds me most of a pencil or a paintbrush because it's kind of similar to how I would hold it. Okay, like that. this. And I'm gonna dip it in purple. I'm gonna see what I can draw. Can I write an S for Miss Scarano? Let's see. Oh, wow. Look at that. I used my stick as paintbrush and I drew an S for the first letter of Scarano, for Miss Scarano. All right, now, put that to the side. I'm gonna use this one because this kind of looks like the top of a paintbrush. It has a lot of different bristles and it's kind of soft like a paintbrush would be. And I'm gonna dip this one in yellow. I'm not gonna use too much. And I'm just gonna see what's gonna happen when it goes on the paper. Since there's all these different spikes, okay, kind of like bristles, I'm gonna make a prediction of what I think is gonna happen when I put this on the paper and try to paint with it. Since there's all these little needles, okay, I think it's gonna make a bunch of little lines, okay? It's not gonna be smooth, it's gonna be kind of choppy. So let's see. I'm just going up and down. I'm not really trying to make anything particular right now. I just wanted to see what would happen. And I made a prediction. Let's see what we think here. Was my prediction right? Look at that. Is it smooth, like one stroke like a paintbrush, or is it a bunch of little lines? It's a bunch of little lines. So that's pretty neat. That's what happens when we use our pine tree needles like a paintbrush. Awesome. Now let's see. I have some dandelions here. I have a big one and I have a smaller one. And if we look at the shapes in the dandelions, what shape is that? Round all the way. It looks like a circle, right? So I have two kind of circles here, a bigger one and a smaller one. I measure them by putting them next to each other and I see one is big and one is little. All right, now you can probably use this as a stamp or like a paintbrush, so I'm gonna do both. All right, let's use the little one first like a stamp. All right, so I'm gonna spread out the petals. All right, and this is similar to when you made the cardboard flowers out of paper towel rolls and you dipped them in and used that as a stamp. That's like the same thing, okay? But this is just a real flower instead of a cardboard one. All right, so I'm gonna use the color, I have like a dark green here, and use that one. And I'm gonna just gently dip it in the paint. I learned last time I don't want too much paint when I'm using it as a stamp because then I won't really see the shape. Let's see what we got here. Okay, spread it out with my finger. There we go, nice and covered. All right, now I'm gonna stamp it down on my paper. I'm gonna press it down, hold it for a second, and then pick it back up. So let's hold it down and let's count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and let's pick it up. Look at that. It looks kind of like the dandelion. That was a pretty good stamp. All right, it looks like a bumpy circle, kind of. All right, now I'm gonna use the big dandelion as a paintbrush and see what happens. So I'm gonna make another prediction with this. I wanna think, all right, when I put paint on here, what's gonna happen on the paper? What is it going to look like? So I see that it's very soft. There's a bunch of different petals, similar to how there were a bunch of different needles, but since they're not as pointy, I think it's not gonna be as many little lines. I still don't think it's gonna be exactly smooth like a paintbrush, but I think it's gonna be smoother. I think it's gonna cover more of the paper. All right, I think it's gonna make one big long line. Let's see. I'm gonna use light green now because I haven't used that color yet, and I'm gonna dip it as much as I want because this one isn't a stamp. This we're using as a paintbrush. Okay, dipped it in there, put it on. All right, it's a little floppier, so we gotta be careful. And I'm gonna drag it down, go back up. All right, let's look and see what we've got. All right, so it's not as smooth as a paintbrush, like I was thinking for my prediction, but it's a little bit thicker of a line than when I used the pine needles, like over here. All right, so now I have all of these different pictures here from using my plants. And now that I know what each one is gonna do, I kind of experimented a little bit. I could go ahead and I can make these into some pictures. So like this one to me kind of looks like the trunk of a tree. So I'm gonna pick something else to put on top to make it more like a tree. I think I'm gonna use another leaf stamp. I'm gonna keep going there. I have a different leaf that I'm gonna use this time. Okay, this one is different than the first one. The first one was round on the sides and pointy on the top, and when I flipped it upside down, it kind of looked like a heart. This one has a bunch of different points. Let's count how many points it has. Some of them are kind of folded. 1, 2. I'm gonna start over. I started at the wrong spot. There were even more points than I realized. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, this has 7 points. That's so neat. All right, so I'm gonna use yellow again, I think. And I don't want too much, so I am gonna use my finger and I'm gonna spread it around nice and even. This is a little bit messy, but if you use a Q-tip, it doesn't have to be as messy. So that's up to you, how much mess that you want. All right. There we go. It's all covered yellow. And I'm gonna stamp it down and I'm gonna count to 3. All right, and then after that, I'm gonna pick it up. So, are you ready to help me count while I stamp? Press it down. 1, 2, 3. And pick it up. Ooh, that's fun. Now I have a leaf on my tree, and maybe I want to do another one. I think I'm gonna do the same leaf, but purple this time. Okay, I'm just covering up the yellow that was on there. That's okay to mix the colors a little bit. All right, you can even make new colors when you mix colors. You know that, right? Like if you mix red and yellow together, what do you get? Orange. And if you mix blue and red together, you get purple. And if you mix blue and yellow together, you get green. That's right. So you can do that. All right, my leaf is covered. Help me count while I stamp. Press it down. 1, 2, 3. And let's pick it up. Whoa, so now I have a yellow leaf and a purple leaf, and now that really looks like a tree, don't you think? I think it looks like a tree. All right, so you can use these plants, these leaves, sticks, flowers, anything you find in nature, a piece of grass. I have a clover here. All sorts of plants you can use as paintbrushes or as stamps, and I think that's a lot of fun. Using what nature gives us to help us make art is awesome. All right, so friends, I hope you have fun with this activity, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.